What's going on, everybody? Sigourney Jackson here with another episode of Who Politics. Appreciate you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell to stay updated on everything that is Who Politics. So I've been watching a lot of basketball lately, and I've been seeing a lot of stuff that I really don't like. But the number one thing that I hate to see more than anything is injuries. You already have Klay Thompson, who got hurt with his Achilles injury after battling back after almost a year or more than a year with the ACL injury. You have Gordon Hayward, who recently hurt his finger. You have Kemba Walker, who got hurt, and a lot of other players, and it's just really tough to watch. On the flip side, you have a lot of players who have also been coming back from injuries and not being able to play last year, such as John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, just to name a few. So I figure maybe I should take the time to show you guys a little something of my own. And this right here is it. This right here is my injury. So back around 2016, I had broke my scaphoid. I had my English is broken, but I fractured my scaphoid. And for anybody who doesn't know, the scaphoid is this right here. It's a small little, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but it's a small little peanut shaped bone in the wrist, and it's considered the ACL of the wrist. It's pretty much what allows you to have full mobility and be able to do this right here, pretty much like a jump shot or dribbling a basketball. I had fractured it in a complete freak accident, and I had to go and get a screw put into it. Maybe you guys can see it, but I still have the scar, and it's kind of hindered me at times, but at the same time I was able to get through it. And I figured, you know what, with all these injuries going on, I'm sure that these NBA guys aren't the only ones who have injuries. I know there's a lot of you out there who probably are struggling with nagging injuries, small injuries, or even big injuries, whether it be a broken bone, a torn ligament, muscle bruises, anything at all. So I thought to myself, it probably would be good to make this video for you guys to just kind of give you guys a couple of tips on what it is that you have to do if you plan on coming back from an injury. So without further ado, let's go and get right into it. The first thing that we have to understand when it comes to coming back from an injury is it is a process. And that is such a cliche thing to say, but it's something that you have to understand. You cannot get caught up looking all the way down the road, because if you look too far down the road, you're not going to be able to focus on right now. You have to treat it like a brick house. Every single day, you have to lay down a brick as perfect as possible, and you have to make sure that it is just 100% the best that could possibly be done. And the next day, you have to focus on that next brick. You don't focus on the brick from yesterday, and you don't focus on the brick that you have to lay 10 days from now. You focus on that brick, and over time, you will get caught up in the process to the point where you will realize, wow, I built a house. Your injury is the exact same way. You have to attack your rehab every single day the exact same way. And you have to make sure that you do it without thinking about the future, because if you think too far about the future, you're going to get down on yourself mentally. You're going to start telling yourself that this isn't going to happen. It's too far of a process, and you're not going to be able to really see the improvement that you're making on a day-to-day process because you're too worried about the big picture. So make sure that you guys are, without a doubt, focusing on a day-to-day process when it comes to your injuries. I know it's very hard. It was hard for me. I remember days where I was in the training room and I had the small little dumbbells and I couldn't even lift 5 pounds without it hurting. I had to be in a cast for 6, 7, 8 months before I could even begin to do my rehab. And I remember when I took my cast off, it was like my wrist was like this size. It was like the size of like a quarter. It was disgusting. And I had to tell myself that it's not going to always be like this. And you have to tell yourself that exact same thing. The second thing that you have to realize when it comes to an injury is, depending on what your injury is, you have to accept the idea that you may not be able to do everything that you used to do. That's probably the hardest pill to swallow. Till this day, I do not have full mobility in my hand like I do with my left hand. So for example, this is my right hand, and then this is my left hand. And I think that you can see the difference in how high one goes up as well as how high the other one goes up. You have to be willing to accept that. When it comes to injuries, you have to look at it from the process of, I am going to go into surgery and the doctor is going to maybe remove something, put something in, stitch something back up, whatever it is, and my body is not going to be its natural self ever again. Till this day, I still have a screw in my hand, and when it gets cold outside, when it rains outside, it aches. That's just what comes with the territory. You have to accept that. If you get too caught up on I'll never be like I used to be and boo-hooing and crying, then you've already lost. You have to look at how can I be better even with everything that's going on now. Kobe Bryant told Rudy Gay when he tore his Achilles, hell no, you're not going to be the same. But you can still be better. You could be a better basketball player even if you're not the same person. So you have to really, really focus in on that. You have to be mentally tough. You have to make sure that you're just ready. Like, I don't know what else to say about that, but understand that you're not going to necessarily always be the same. Some people come back, but even the people who come back, physically they're not the same. They're just better basketball players. The third thing, which is also one of the more important things that you have to understand when you're dealing with injuries or coming back from injuries, and that is listen to your body. Listen to your body. I know we live in a day and age or in a country or just a way of thinking where we have to push through. We have to push through the pain. You know, pain is the weakness leaving the body, and all that is nonsense, okay? If your body hurts in the process of you rehabbing, playing, doing whatever it is, stop. You are only setting yourself up for a longer process to come back. If you push through a injury or you push through your body hurting today, you could possibly cause inflammation, you could cause swelling and all types of other things the next day, and it will put you on bed rest to where you can't do anything for the next 3 or 4 days until you have gotten back to your normal self. And then you have to continue with your rehab. So you have to make sure that you're always listening to your body. When you feel pain, stop. Now there is a difference between obviously feeling pain and being hurt, but sometimes those lines can get blurred when you're so focused on coming back and being the best player that you can be and getting back on the court. I fully understand that. There were days where I would shoot the basketball, and when I flicked my wrist would be in complete pain, like crippling pain. Like I would literally drop to my knees because of how bad my wrists were hurt just from flicking my wrist. And when that happened, I had to say, I gotta stop. I had already put up 100 shots, and when I went to put up 101, it hurt. That let me know my limit is 100. Right now, this is all I can do, which goes back to the original thing, which was you have to focus on a day-to-day process. If today all you can do is put up 100 shots, put up just 100 shots. Tomorrow, you might be able to do 105. And when you get to that point, do 105, but don't push it. Don't rush it, because no matter what, you can't rush time. It doesn't matter how many reps you do. It doesn't matter how long you rehab. You cannot do more than what the day will allow. So make sure you listen to your body. You don't want to increase injury. You don't want to hurt yourself more than you already have. And you don't also want to pause your rehab. So make sure y'all just focus on that a lot. Listen to your body. Your body knows best. Nobody knows your body better than you do. Don't listen to trainers. Don't listen to coaches. Don't listen to other players trying to push you into doing something. If your body doesn't feel right, sit down. The fourth thing that you have to pay attention to when it comes to rehabbing, you do not, and this is really difficult, but like I want to make sure I explain this the best of my ability, and I know I can ramble and I can talk forever, but really pay attention to what I'm saying. Do not overcompensate your strong ligament and so you can help your weak ligament. What I mean by that is this. If you tear your right ACL, during your rehab process, do not try to put more weight on your left ACL and so you don't re-hurt your right ACL. This is a mental thing. This is something you have to mentally tell yourself when you're in your day-to-day life, when you're working out, when you're rehabbing. You want to make sure that you are doing everything evenly, because if you try to put too much strength or too much weight or pressure on your left leg because you're trying to rehab your right leg, or your left wrist because you're trying to rehab your right wrist, you are going to hurt that other ligament. You are going to hurt that other body part, because all you're doing is for an entire year. Think about it. Depending on your injury, if you're gone for 6 months, if you're gone for a year, whatever it is, you are putting a whole lot of weight and stress on that other one to favor your weak one. and that is wearing it out over time. That's why you have a lot of injuries like Klay Thompson, where he had a torn ACL, and then, if I'm not mistaken, he tore his Achilles in his other leg. That most likely is because he was putting a lot of pressure on that other leg, because mentally he was not that confident in his leg that he had originally injured. And I'm not a sports medicine guy, I'm not any of that, and who knows, maybe he tore his Achilles on the exact same leg that he had already tore the ACL on, but you have to make sure that you are not favoring the other leg. This is a mental thing. This is not necessarily a physical thing. You have to mentally tell yourself every single day that I'm going to do everything evenly. I am going to do push-ups, and I'm not gonna favor one arm or one wrist over the other. I'm gonna do my squats, and I'm not gonna favor one leg over the other. And the best way to do that is to do individual workouts. If you have a problem going on with your leg or your knees or your ankles, you wanna try to do individual leg curls, for example, individual lunges, individual leg presses, so you can make sure that you are evenly distributing the workout on both body parts. That way, when it's time to come back and it's time to play, you're a lot more confident on your leg that you had already injured, or your wrist, or your arm, or your shoulder, whatever it is. I keep just going to leg and wrist, but anything. You will be confident in the body part that you had originally injured, and you are saving yourself down the line to make sure that you do not injure that body part again, or injure a new body part because you were so busy trying to favor the other one. And the final thing that you have to do if you want to be able to come back from a great rehab, and this right here is a secret tip that I actually had got from a friend of mine, Rodney Magruder, who plays for the LA Clippers. When I broke my wrist, what he had sat down and told me was, look at your old film. Sometimes mentally you will get so caught up in your rehab and trying to get back to doing what you normally do, and it's not gonna work. You're not the same player you used to be. And sometimes if you go out every single day, you airball, or you can't jump the same or whatever for 2-3 weeks at a time, you're gonna get down on yourself. You're gonna start to think, will I ever be the same? I suck, I'm not good, I'm not this, I'm not that. And the way that you get over that mentally is sometimes you have to sit down, you have to look at your old film. You have to see yourself and say, that's me. Like, I can shoot the cover off the ball. I can dunk, I can jump, I can slide my feet on defense. I'm long, I'm athletic. And as you watch that, it reminds you of who you are. Because in the process sometimes of doing rehabs or getting injured, you will lose yourself. Because you're in the moment not who you used to be or who you remember yourself to be. But that's why film is so important. When you can look at yourself and you can see who you used to be, you know that whatever it is that you've lost, it's still in you. It's just hidden away right now. And that is something that's gonna help you to get through the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And months down the line, years down the line, you're gonna be back to who you were. And you're gonna do the same things that you used to do before you got hurt. And once you do that, the sky's the limit. So I hope that you guys like this video. I know I've been gone for a really long time. I've been doing a whole lot of crap. You guys will see it soon enough. But if you like the video, make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit the notification bell, you follow the Instagram and the Twitter at @hoop_politics. Comment below if you've had an injury. What have you hurt? What have you torn? How long did it take you to get back? I would love to hear about it, man. For me, my wrist, honestly, I broke my wrist in 2016. I wore a cast for about 8 months. I didn't actually come back to be able to rehab until around the beginning of 2017. And I actually wasn't fully myself again until probably about a year later, around 2018. So it was a long process. Some people have shorter processes. It really just depends on the person. It's a case-by-case basis. But let me know. I would love to hear from it. I would love to hear what you guys did in order to get better, and if this helped you. And I think that's it. So without further ado, God's always in control. Peace.